my collective gangstas. So today, right now, the moon is at 10.2% illumination in Libra. We're headed towards that new moon in first quarter moon in Libra on the 21st. Mercury is going retrograde on the 23rd. I've been telling y'all about this, anticipating it, right? Preparing for it. I've already kind of noticed that energy showing up, though, of the past people kind of popping in, people that you're like, what the fuck? Never thought I'd see that fool again. And, you know, it's gonna happen, right? Inevitably. For those of you who are Aquarians, you know, Saturn, your planets, Saturn, is already retrograde. Uranus is going retrograde on the 28th. So, you know, prepare for, you know, setbacks or, you know, past situations, past people kind of coming up for resolutions, right? Today I will be doing air sign readings. After this, I wanted to get in all signs. I'm just feeling it. So yes, I think that is it for my ramble. So let's see. What kind of messages can we get for you? Libra is represented by the Justice card, right? You often see them being symbolized by the scales of balance, right? They are the justice bringers, right? They are the ones that will bring balance to a situation. They can be good karma for people. They can be bad karma for people. It really depends on what they've earned, right? So, yes. I also heard from one of my friends who's a Libra that she's been feeling a bit emotional. You know, and with this lunar activity going from fire to air like this, it could be a bit emotional, you know, and for air signs, being emotional is really weird, okay? It's not like a commonplace, you know. It's not like being an earth sign or a water sign, for example, you know. Air and fire typically are less on the emotional spectrum. I'd say even Capricorn and Scorpio are kind of the, no, I don't know, Scorpios can be a bit emotional too, but they're better at hiding it, masking it, right? Capricorns are really bad at expressing emotion, but really good at feeling emotion, right? So, like, you know, there are exceptions to the rule. So, let's see. Who are you? What is your energy today? How is this moon in Libra serving you? How is this first quarter moon gonna affect you moving into these new phases of this new moon cycle? Merkaba, Cancerian energy. This is all about movement, long distance travel, excitement. This could be switching jobs. This could be switching homes. This could simply be taking vacations. You know, put it as it resonates. We're going to dive a bit deeper with the tarot. I always like to start with oracles and end with oracles because I love them. Okay, like, what can I say? I just love them. So, yeah. Merkaba is also, like, I'm looking at this imagery, right? We've got the Star of David here, and in the way that she's in this ring of protection, right? That's ultimately what this star represents, is this ring of protection, or the ring around the star, sorry. And if you notice, there's a lot of electricity, you know, and a lot of that Like, I'm seeing a lot of air energy above her head, a lot of pensiveness, a lot of thinking, planning, perhaps. But the Star of David, let's go back to that. Because as a Jew myself, I do kind of see that as a symbol of royalty, right? A spawn of the King David, right? L'chaim. I don't know if you're Jewish or not, but this does represent like ancestral gifts, ancestral. It's like a hand-me-down of purpose, right? Or leadership. I guess is probably the best way I could put that. And you know how, like, royalty, you know, they hand off responsibility to their heirs. They hand off kingdoms to their heirs. And I feel that there's kind of this energy that you're shifting. You're moving into a place of taking on a new role or leadership. Maybe even leadership over your own life. Maybe it's about autonomy at this point. Maybe it's about finding that sense of drive and purpose and going in that direction. I almost don't even want to use the cards today. I'm really enjoying it. Let's see how long we can go without them. Okay, let's see. Because right now, I mean, just pulling this Merkaba card, it really does incite this energy that, like you're getting messages or downloads, or you feel like the sense of purpose, like you're meant for more. The song Art Deco by Lana Del Rey keeps coming to mind. And she sings like, how does she put it? So Art Deco, out on the floor, shining like a metal, golden and short, baby, you're so ghetto, looking to score. When they all say hello, you try to ignore them because you want more. Yeah, you want more. You want more because you feel a sense that you're meant for more, right? You feel this inherent thing that of moreness, right? And it's like, it's this thing you can't shake, you know, and this could often lead to a lot of disappointment when you're stuck in systems of this matrix that causes you to feel like less, or feel like you're not able to accomplish more, or feel like it's such a stride to get to more, you know. It's like you see this mountain, you know you belong at the top of the mountain, and so you start walking towards the mountain, and then as soon as you get closer, you realize that there's this huge trench, right? Right here, and it's a huge, you have to fall first before you can even get to the other side to climb to the land, or, you know, to get to the mountain, you know, on the other side. I see that imagery from The Land Before Time, when the earthquakes are happening, and they're like on opposite ends of like, and they have to go and try to get to their families. The kids are like separated from the parents, and they have to like try to get to the other side, because the earth has literally pulled them apart, you know. And it's kind of, that's what these dreams or this, like, ambition is feeling like for you. It's like the closer you get, the further you feel from it. And that's the illusion, too, because the further you feel from it, the closer you actually are to it. It's, because Spirit's going to make you a bridge. You know, like, you're not going to have to go down those trenches. You're not going to have to, you know, go into this crack in the earth. You know, it's like you're going to be able to go straightforward, right? This is where you learn that you can fly a bit, you know. I feel that, you're going to find yourself kind of miraculously saved by people and situations in these upcoming months. You're going to realize that, like, you have more support in the material realm and in the spiritual realm than you even realize. Sometimes you might feel a little alone in your journey, or a little like you have to do it all on your own, but that's not the case. You just need to go where you feel your path is supported, right? And you could have supportive friends that don't actually support your path, right? And that's kind of it's a hard one, right? Because you can have friends that all their heart, all their intention is towards being supportive, towards loving you, towards, they want to see you succeed. But also, these connections could be, driving you away from, your purpose or whatever. Like friends that always want to hang out with you, right? They love you, they support you, they think you're fantastic, they want to be in your energy. The thing is they are actually distracting you from your purpose. They're stealing you from it. Because time, energy, and money are the expenses that they're taking a lot of the times, like, I don't remember the last time I got to hang out with a friend that didn't cost money and time and energy, right? I mean, even the most low-key hangout is going to be, expensive, because it does cost so freaking much. And at this point, you have to really weigh out your value. And that's hard. And that's where this hermit energy is kind of creeping up on you, I feel. Because especially with Mercury going retrograde, Uranus going retrograde, the advice here is that you do go low-key. The advice is that you don't put yourself in situations that would create bigger setbacks. And the advice is that you focus on your work, you focus on your ambitions, take steps every day towards what you want. Like, for example, some people want fitness, right? So, and you're not always going to feel motivated towards your goals, right? You're not always gonna feel it. Some days you're gonna wake up sore as fuck and you're like, I just can't do it. Well, if you can't do the physical aspect of it, what can you do in your diet that would make up for that, right? Because to reach certain fitness goals, typically you just have to be in a caloric deficit, So maybe fast on the days that you don't feel that you can be active, or if you are in, sorry, I'm getting a phone call and it's distracting me. But yeah, so if your goal is to, like, start a business, for example, right? What can you do on a day-to-day, right? Write it up, man. Like, you can either create something, right? Create your product. You can build your business plan. You can, it doesn't cost much actually to get a business license, an LLC. Pretty easy to come by. And it's really just taking the steps. Don't wait until you're ready to succeed. Make yourself succeed when you're not ready, right? It's kind of like you can't wait for the perfect circumstances. Life isn't gonna fucking pause for you to catch up, It's like you're gonna have to actually step up and be like, you know what? This is what I'm doing. This is the goal. This is what we're doing. And yeah, it's going to be hard. And yeah, it's going to, it's going to really change your mindset. It might even change your personality, because as you go through these shifts, as you grow, You know, you're not going to be the same person that you were. You know, even if you were to watch my videos from when I started this, hold on, I'm sorry. The universe is distracting me. I'll be right back. See what I mean? Well-intentioned people. People that love you will distract you from your purpose. Choose wisely. Who you allowed to distract? Is this worth what it costs? Right? Like me losing sight of what we were talking about, but I did not. I deliberately was like, stay on track, keep it fast, move it on. So, if your goal is to save money, stop spending it, right, on things that you don't actually need. And, you know, maybe make, like, little goals, you know, like, start out with, I want to save up to $500, right? Then, from there, be like, all right, now I've reached this goal, I want to save up to $1,000, right? Now I've reached this goal, I'll save up to $1,500, you know, and just make them small and feasible steps. You know, it doesn't have to be so grandiose, right? If we make it so grandiose from day one, it makes it a lot harder to accomplish. It's like a baby must eat baby food before it eats solids, right? So, like, you know, baby food yourself. Do the little increments at a time and get yourself just a little bit closer. If you don't like running, fucking go skating. You know, there are other ways to do cardio. Get yourself a hula hoop. Freaking get a jump rope. Honestly. Or, you know, just don't be afraid to, like, run a few steps, walk a few steps, run a few steps, and then just push it. Like, you know, run until you can't run anymore, and then walk a little bit. And then when you start feeling like you can run again, do it again. You know, like, you're never going to go straight from the, oh yeah, I want to run a 5K marathon, next week. You know, you're not going to go from inactivity to success, right? Like, you have to help the universe push you along, right? You have to show the universe that you actually want it. Because if you're not demonstrating that you actually want it, then you're not going to actually get it, you know? Because what you invest your time and energy into is what you're getting. What you tell the universe is important to you is what you spend your time on. I don't care how tempting it is. You know, I am a prime example of allowing distractions to get in the way, you know, where there were times where I was like, well, what am I going to do? Just sit at home alone? No, I'm just going to go do karaoke at the bar because that's super fun, you know, whatever. Bad move, you know, because in all that time I could have been reading books. I could have been educating myself on my purpose. I could have been creating content, you know, I could have been doing things to get me closer, and instead I was spending time, money, and energy. And right now, this is a good time to reserve those things, you know, your time, energy, and money. Right now is a good time to, you know, set goals. It's easier to save money if you know what you're saving it for, right? So, like, have a goal in mind. What is it for? If you want to be a world traveler, go get your passport, you know? And then one thing that I've noticed is it helps me to travel is get a ticket a year in advance, right? To wherever it is that you want to go. It doesn't matter how random it is. Just get a ticket a year in advance and then save up for that year. And keep in mind, like, you already have the ticket. The ticket's it's already paid for. You already have the trip in line. So now you need to have money because you don't want to go there broke, right? You don't want to go there with empty-handed. So, you know, just keep that in mind as you go. Like, you know, so many people that I've met in life, they talk about all these dreams and ambitions of wanting to buy a house or wanting to, you know, own land and live in a communal living. Well, what steps have they even taken to do that? You know, and I have one friend that actually did do it, and guess what? She's in France right now. Lucky, you know, with her wife. They're having a great time. But yeah, it's like there are dreamers and there are doers, you know, and it's like it's time to be a doer, and it's time to be like, you know what? It's actually not intangible. It's not some, you know, rather than talking about it, just do it, you know, and it's going to be hard and it's going to take effort and you're going to have to make sacrifices. You're going to have to sacrifice instant gratification to get you there, you know. You're going to have to sacrifice the pleasures of the moment for the glory of the reward, you know. It's like even celibacy, man, I think I rather enjoy it, right? I know people are like, that's crazy, but it's nice because when you take desire out of the equation and you're just in a state of like not desiring, you know, you're in a state of like, well, I don't actually need to do that, and you know, you find yourself becoming a lot more confident because you're not part of the meat market, like, competition for mating thing, you know? You don't need to be the best looking guy or the, you know, you don't need the coolest car or whatever, and ultimately it makes you more attractive, ironically, you know? And I remember when I first started celibacy, I was like, oh, you know, I'm gonna wait until I find the person, you know, da-da-da-da-da. And I found a person, broke my celibacy, had a little debauchery, you know, it was very nice. And then, but then I felt like I was missing from the equation a little bit. Because when I am in a state of not desiring things, when I am in a state of deprivation, I guess is the best way to put it. It's like you don't have like the hunger for it, I guess is the best way to put it. It's like when you fast, you know, the first couple of days you're like dying. You're like, fuck, I don't know how I will ever exist. And then after like a week or so, then it's like it gets better, you know, then you don't feel like that empty, hollow feeling anymore. Instead, when you go back to trying to eat food, it's like almost too much, right? It's like you take a couple bites and you're like, now I feel like crap. And, you know, it's like, it's interesting how that happens, but you're really, when you deprive yourself of certain things or you allow yourself to go periods of time without certain things, it actually shows you that you don't need it for survival or for personal whatever, you know. And shoot, I mean, a lot of the times all we need is water and eggs, you know, or something. The rest of it is all, you know, just indulgence. And not saying that indulgence is bad, but indulgence is better enjoyed after not indulging, right? If you're constantly indulging, then it loses its luster, right? It loses its what am I doing? I'm not even using the cards. It loses its control over you, you know. I just feel that the direction that you're moving in life at this time is really calling you to reflect and maybe withhold on your desires, you know? Maybe, like, don't feed into instant gratification. And it's not because you don't deserve gratification, but it's because it's just distracting you from something much better in life, right? It's distracting you from a more full experience of life. I feel that, you know, this is kind of something that the ancient monks kind of were tapping into. Like, you know, we all have to kind of find out on our own, in our own way, what that is, you know? But the more that we feed into instant gratification, the more we're enslaved to it. You know, and when you deprive yourself of something, it's not, you know, like, it's not for you to go into a lack mindset or a lack mentality where you're like, oh, no, I can't have this or I can't do that. You know, I don't like that either. It's not that you can't, it's that you're choosing not to, right? It's that you're choosing better. It's like, you know your worth, you know your value, and you're simply falling into alignment with your values at this point. And, you know, like, people can sit here and preach philosophy all freaking day long, but if you're not living the philosophy, then, like, what is the point of talking about it, you know? And I think that's ultimately the biggest downfall of philosophy, is that so much of it is words. When the primary purpose of it is not words, right? Like, a philosopher will spend their entire life trying to find the meaning of life, studying, researching, dedicating their entire existence to it, and then they end up on their deathbed just to find out that they missed out on the meaning of life the entire time because they're so busy trying to find it. You know, they're so busy trying to seek it out, like chasing, you know, like when you wake up from a really good dream and you're trying to recollect, yeah, you're trying to recollect it. You're trying to chase it, right? You're trying to remember exactly the details and exactly what happened, and as you're trying to remember it, it just escapes your brain. It's like poof, poof, goodbye. And oftentimes the meaning of life is just like that, because it's not words, you know, it is the experience. You can't tell somebody the meaning of life. They'll figure it out by living it, by living it. And, you know, I feel that living for enjoyment, living to not feel pain, living in hedonistic values, it kind of takes away the beauty of certain things, you know? It's like for example, I started a new day job where, you know, there's a lot of physical labor involved, right? And at first I was just like, holy crap, this is suffering. What is this? This hurts. But a couple days into it, and my body is not sore anymore, and I'm able to lift things like crazy good. My muscles getting toned, you know. It's like, and I feel like better, like energetically better. I feel like I actually want to wake up early in the morning and do things, and, you know, and at first, I was like, oh, this sucks, you know. But then, you know, I just gave it a chance. I gave it a shot. And then that shot that I gave it, like, unfolded this kind of really cool outcome that I just didn't have I wasn't really thinking about in the moment, you know. in the moment when you're like carrying like 85 pounds worth of batteries and stuff, and you're going through all this, you're like, whatever. And then you like pass by the mirror, and then you're like, oh crap, like that's kind of cool, you know, like, you know, you realize that it makes you stronger. It makes you capable of enduring more. It makes the hard stuff a lot easier, you know. And if you're always chasing the easy path, the path of least resistance, it makes you weaker and it makes life harder, right? Because even the easy stuff feels difficult because you're always looking for easier stuff, you know. Whereas you choose a harder path, and yeah, it's a path of most resistance, you know. It's like, but then you realize like that it makes everything else so much easier and so much more endurable, and you feel better about it, you know. You feel like you actually earn your showers. Like I've had jobs where I just sit around selling weed at a dispensary, and it was the easy path, you know, and everything else was more difficult, you know. I was physically weaker. I was mentally lackadaisical, you know. I didn't, you know, it was easy, right? And I enjoyed it for its easiness. I enjoyed it for the lack of challenge. The thing is that creates complacency and that creates stagnation. If you willingly jump into the challenge, the universe is not going to challenge you as much, you know, and you're going to have the ability to kind of step in and handle it with a lot more ease if you're already challenging yourself in certain ways, in certain disciplines, you know. I admire people who like go running every day, and people who like, you know, they stick to like strict dietary standards, or, you know, people who you know, because it shows such a discipline, you know. Like, I would love to be eating cheesecake every morning for the rest of my life. I would love that. You know, at the same time, if I'm not eating cheesecake for like 3 months and then I go and I have cheesecake, it's going to feel like the first time, you know? It's going to be like, haha, I'm eating this whole freaking thing in one sitting because it's been so long and I get to enjoy this indulgence now, you know, versus like, versus allowing myself to kind of take it for granted and then allow it to just become like a constant like staple in my diet or whatever. Same with drinking, you know, drinking every day, partying every day. Sure, it might be enjoyable for a little bit, and then after a while you're sitting in a bar and you're just as depressed as everyone around you, and you're like, wow, this is kind of fucking miserable, isn't it? It's actually not that enjoyable anymore. But if you only go out every few months or so, then you'll find that you actually get a chance to enjoy it more, because it's now like a treat, you know, to go out. It's now like an event to go out. It's not part of your routine, you know. You know, things feel differently when you actually give yourself that opportunity to hold out, you know, for certain things, for what you actually want, you know. I want to enjoy life more, therefore I present a lot more challenges into my life, a lot more disciplines, a lot more stoicism, so that when I do have my moments of indulgence, I can enjoy it a lot more, right? If I want to enjoy it more, then I have to not have it so much, right? That's why rare things are way more valuable if it's easy to come by, or if it's just, you know, right there all the time, it's not so much fun, is it? You know? And I feel like that's, you know, kind of an important thing to think about and to focus on. You know, in those moments where you are like, oh, this is difficult, or oh, this is hard, think about, is it worth it? You know, is it worth it to deprive yourself a little bit, to hold off on your instant gratification, right? Like, if you're constantly feeding into your desires, then they rule you, right? And the best way to rule over your personal desires is to tell them no, right? That's part of shadow work, telling your shadow no, right? Being your own parent sometimes. And like, yeah, the ego wants this, right? Yeah, the ego wants to do all these, you know, things. Debauchery sounds nice, sure, whatever. But is it really going to be that fulfilling if your life is all about debauchery? You know, is it really going to have the outcomes that you actually desire? Perhaps not, you know. So, yeah. I feel like I've been going on this tangent for a whole minute. But that's, you know, it's pretty strong to this way of existing. It creates strength in you. It creates that nirvana, you know, that ascension. You're transcending your ego, you're transcending your carnal desires. You're separating yourself from what the flesh wants, you know, and feeding the soul. Like reading books, right? I think that's my favorite discipline. I actually don't even have a TV in my room anymore because I was like, I don't need it. I'm gonna be reading books. I love it. I actually have a book reading channel. It's called Cool Story Bro. I'll link it to this video if you guys want to check it out. But yeah, so in that time that you would be like binging Netflix, if you're like, you know what, maybe I'll take 20-30 minutes and just like crack open a book. You know, that's exactly how I started. I was like, I'll take 20-30 minutes. And then eventually I cracked open the right book and I couldn't put the freaking thing down. And then I was like, now I need more. And now I need more. And now I'm chasing the high, you know. But it's, I don't know, it hits different, you know. It's not quite like watching Netflix where the story's just laid out for you, like, but it expands your lexicon, you know, your vocabulary. It expands your thinking, you know. It challenges you to remember better. It challenges you to think more articulate thoughts. You know, it challenges you to have those challenges you to actually like the challenge, you know, because yeah, not everyone likes reading books, and I recommend reading books, especially if you don't like it, especially if that's not your thing, because I feel that you might not know if it's your thing. I feel that you might not know, like, you know, you may have, you know, read books for school and you're like, oh, this is punishment. But when you read for fun, it's not. It's not punishment. It's actually kind of dope, you know. So, you know, like, challenge you. Do that. Maybe take a day from eating. You know, fast a day, just to see how that goes. Although, honestly, I'd say 3 days is a good limit, because the first day and a half to 2 days, it's gonna feel like hell. It's gonna suck. But you gotta distract yourself with your discipline, you know, in those times. Like, be like, what am I gonna do instead of eating, you know? And then once that initial, like, the hunger pangs go away, and hollowness goes away, and you realize you were never really hollow to begin with. This is your body writhing its addiction, right? It's because it is an addiction that you're going through. You're going through withdrawals when you're feeling those pangs, you know? So it's not that you're actually going to die if you don't eat. It's that, like, you're so addicted to it, you know? And maybe that could help you understand addicts, too, you know? People who judge drug addicts, I challenge them, go 3 days without eating. Tell me how easy that is, okay? Tell me how easy it is. And then go judge the drug addicts, you know? Like, you just don't know, right? You don't know until you're there, until you've done it. Yeah, so I feel that it's a good practice. It's a good, it's good to teach yourself. And you know what? When you try to fast the first time and you fail, because you will fail the first time. You'll go a long time and you'll fail. And then you'll try it again because you don't want to fail the next time, and eventually you won't fail. But you're going to understand how addiction actually works and how everybody is kind of an addict to something, you know? Don't watch TV for a while. Turn that shit off. See what that's like. Go in a couple days trying to entertain your brain with nothing, right? No music, no TV. See what happens. See what happens. Tell you what, you'll enjoy it a whole lot more when you get back to it. But also you'll see that you didn't die without it. You know? These are important practices. Especially if you're doing shadow work. This is shadow work. That's legitimate shadow work. It's not just like sitting around feeling sorry for yourself, right? It's not just saying, oh yeah, I take accountability, I've been an asshole. No. It's actually feeling the weight of your addiction to your ego, right? The things that feed your ego. It's actually figuring that out. And that's where true enlightenment comes from. You won't be judging nobody when you deprive yourself of certain things anymore, right? And you know what's crazy? When you go into celibacy, you don't feel jealous anymore either, because you're not part of that competitive sexual game, you know? You don't give a fuck, right? And that's the best feeling, to not give a fuck. It's like, oh, okay, let somebody else be the hottest in the room because I'm really trying not to be, you know? You don't feel that urge to impress people, you know? You're not trying to, you know, you're not looking at everyone like they're just a piece of ass to be had, you know? And that makes, when you find an honest connection, a lot more powerful, right? If somebody can feed your soul in such a way that it transcends desire, that's probably the person you should break your celibacy with, you know? But give yourself time. Give yourself an allotted amount of time. Give yourself a goal of, this is how much time I'm gonna go. I'm planning on going. You might go longer than that, you know. But you know, this is, and I mean, these challenges show us what we're really made of. You know, shows us that we're not incapable of accomplishing anything, actually, and that's kind of dope. Anywho, I'm gonna leave this reading here. Now I'm gonna go read for the air signs and actually use cards. I just wanted to give it a go without it. I was feeling it. I was like, I'm already talking. It's just coming through, you know. And I just, that's my challenge, right? Challenging myself to receive the download without the visual aids, you know. Challenge accepted, you know. Because, you know, I've been saying it forever. I don't need the cards. So here I am, not needing the cards. I just feel that strongly this path that you're headed down, it's going to require you to be a lot stronger than you've been. And the best way to get a lot stronger than you've been is through deprivation and discipline. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to be so fucking worth it, though. You know, so fucking worth it. It's, man. Like, a lot of people don't realize this, but I grew up with, like, this compulsion. I never liked my neck being touched. I think I was hanged in a past life or something, because, like, I always feel like, don't touch my neck, you know? So I got a big-ass neck tattoo, where it felt like, for 8 hours, this guy was just slitting my throat, you know? And then the fucker poured rubbing alcohol on it at the end of it, which I've never experienced with tattoos. And I have a lot of tattoos. That was a first for me, and it felt like he set my throat on fire. I was like, well, you may as well just get the rope now. Like, you know, but that was very challenging. That was a very, like, spiritual experience, you know, that kind of pain, just sitting there, experiencing it, having to be calm, you know, having to lay there still for that long. And the one thing he complained about was my heartbeat, because as he's going over my jugular, he's like, your heart's beating. I'm like, that's the one thing I can't stop, okay? Like, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to work around that. I can lay here still, but I can't guarantee that my heart is going to just calm down for you right now. The shit hurts, dog. So, you know, like, sometimes, if, like, you know, overcoming certain things like that can also help you heal certain things. You know, like, for me, that was a past life trauma. That was something that I've just always felt. I've always been like, you know, now I'm like, fuck, it doesn't matter. I sat through that. I had a man's full-ass hand pressure on my throat for, like, you know, and it's, it was a nightmare. But I'm stronger for it. I'm capable of more now for it. I don't have that same compulsion to the feeling, or, you know, I don't have that sensitivity anymore. But anywho, now I'm really done. If I don't end it now, it's just gonna keep coming through, and we're just gonna be here for hours, dog. And I ain't gonna put you all through that. So I do feel like we should go live soon. I'm thinking maybe next weekend if you guys have. I know I said it before, but I didn't get so many responses, so I wanted to wait. And so if you guys have questions that you would like me to answer or whatever, throw it in the comments. And I mean, obviously when we're on the live, I'll be able to see your questions and stuff then. But, like, I feel like I like showing up with some, like, pre-search, you know? So, yeah. I want to, like, have an idea of the direction you guys want to go for this live. If you have recommendations, topic ideas, whatever the case, just throw in the comments. I love the feedback. I love when you guys connect and communicate with me. That's one of the reasons I do love the live readings, because, or I don't even do readings when I go live. I love the live videos. Because then it's so interactive. We get to talk, I get to know you guys, you know, like, outside of the cards, we get to have actual, you know, conversation, you know, conversing. It's very nice. So, yeah, anywho, if you have ideas for that, that'd be sick. Let's get to know one another. Getting to know you. Getting to know all about you. Yes. Namaste. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later.